it up somehow.
Oh yes, my Stray Dog family, whenever you hear that theme song, you know it's time for me to welcome you to another edition of Stray Talk and say a very good night, very pleasant night, St. Kitts and Nevis, and a very pleasant night to the entire Caribbean region. I reach all the way down south to JD in Trinidad and Tobago, coming up to Barbados, and in the Windward Islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Dominica, Grenada, comme ça va, Martinique, Guadeloupe, yes, Antigua, Barbuda, and how about our neighbors there in St. Eustatius, Sabre, St. Martin, and St. Bartholomew, and going all the way down to the USVI and the BVI. How could I forget Anguilla? How could I forget Montserrat? How could I forget all my people over there in Nevis? But my Straight Talk family, it's time for me to welcome you to another edition of Straight Talk. And we welcome our listeners on our sister station, Win FM 98.9 on your FM dial, and those of you all around the world. In the Kittitian and Nibijan diaspora, there are some of you in Asia, there are some of you in Africa, there are some of you in Europe, and there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. Straight Talk, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let's, in the process, continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. On this program, we try to raise the level of national discourse. We try to raise the level of national consciousness by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And for the first timers in particular, we are here with you every Monday night and Thursday night from 8 to 10 in the PM. My dissertation tonight is entitled, "Me Can Drink Coffee and Cock Me Foot." And that's colloquial. It's everyday language, just in case you're wondering. But we normally look first at our observations in review. And our observations in review is the time when we reflect, time when we highlight the issues that we have addressed or may have addressed in the past, and we ask a few questions. We ask a few questions such as what has been accomplished or what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since then, since when we raised the issue, and what can be expected next, also what we have learned as a people. And as my first observation, I want to take the time out to congratulate the Honorable Dr. Timothy Sylvester Harris, who will celebrate 29 years tomorrow as the parliamentary representative of St. Christopher VII, and by extension, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, our third Prime Minister. And he, having been first elected on the 29th of November, way back in 1993. Isn't that a long time? I think he's the second longest serving member in the St. Kitts Nevis Parliament, and perhaps one of the longest serving members in the Caribbean region, members of parliament, I should say, in the Caribbean region. I had the privilege and honor to worship with him at the House of Deliverance, New Testament Church of God in Tabernacle. The church was packed to capacity yesterday. And whereas everyone seemed thankful for Prime Minister Harris, there was general concurrence, however, that all the glory must be given to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, as all of our mercies belong to God. The pastor Octavia Charles brought a timely message. She always brings some touching messages whenever I've been to that church. And she used the book, if I recall, the book of Chronicles. I think it was chapter 25. I don't remember the exact verses though. But she used that chapter, that book of Chronicles, as her point of departure, and reminded all of us, I should say, that we cannot trust the arm of flesh, as it will always fail us. And that is so true, because the flesh of man will always fail us, because man will undermine us, and their insidious attempts at our personal destruction will never cease. But another one of the many highlights, or the high points, I should say, in the service, that has stuck with me since yesterday morning, was when Shirley Williams gave us a melodious rendition of the song, He'll Do It Again. And I pulled that song from Pastor Shirley Caesar, and that was so touching, believe me.
Feel down and feel like gone, that somehow forgotten, that you are faced with circumstances that you cannot get through. Right now it seems that there is no way out and you're going under. God's proven time and time again that He'll fix it for you. He'll do it again, friend. He'll do it again. Just take a look at where you are now and where you've been. Has He always come through for you? He's the same now as then. You may not know how, you may not know when, but He'll do it again.
Yes, my Street Talk family, that was a real touching rendition done by Shirley Williams. That's not Shirley Williams, that's Pastor Shirley Caesar. But come to think of it, if God can do it for Denzel Douglas, I believe he can do it again for Timothy Harris. After 29 years of service to his constituency and his country. Happy 29th anniversary, Prime Minister Harris, when it comes tomorrow. My second observation relates to Mark Brantley in Nevis, who has snubbed the Evangelical Association and by extension the church, and announced election day in Nevis for Monday the 12th of December 2022. The church raised concern about election activities during the Advent season, which is the beginning of the church year. I believe it begins on the fourth Sunday before Christmas Day, December 25th, which is the Sunday nearest to November 30th, and ends on Christmas Eve. So the first Sunday in Advent in most churches was celebrated just yesterday. However, Brantley reprimanded the Reverend Pastors Ron Daniel and Cicely Brown, and in no uncertain terms, reminded them that it is within the range of his authority as Premier to call elections whatever time he feels to do so. Therefore, he will proceed to do what he needs to do. Here's what Brantley said to those pastors.
There was a letter written to Daniel and Reverend Cicely Brown on behalf of the Evangelical Association. The tone of the letter was a little unfortunate, because in the letter they indicated that if I were to call an election in December, they would not stand idly by. And I wasn't so sure what they meant by that. Just as it would be out of order for me to seek to threaten the church, I think it is out of order for the church to seek to threaten the government. It is within the purview of the Premier of Nevis to call an election at any point that he feels to call an election. I have responded to the letter, and I've indicated to the church that the election will come when it will come, and we just have to deal with it. And so we will have to proceed with respect, but we'll have to proceed to do what we need to do.
And yes, he has proceeded to do what he needs to do, in his own words. And in a rather subdued tone, and avoiding the traditional bell ringing announcement and festive political atmosphere at a political meeting. You know, parties ring the bell, leaders ring the bell, but Brantley went on NNC TV to say this, my Straight Talk family.
I have today advised His Excellency, after consultation with the Honorable Prime Minister, that the Nevis Island Assembly should be dissolved as of Friday, the 25th day of November, 2022. Nomination day for the election of representatives to the Nevis Island Assembly shall be Monday, December 5th, 2022. Election day on the island of Nevis shall be Monday, December 12th, 2022.
Yes. And the pork barrel projects have been rolled out in Nevis. Believe it or not, they have been rolled out.
Recall that in 2019 we completed the first phase of this enhancement project. This project initially started at a cost of over $13 million for that phase of the work. And I'm happy to report that we are settling at a figure of just about $11.7 million for this phase of the work. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Bank of Nevis for being a steadfast partner with the island of Nevis and the Ministry of Communication. by funding this project to the tune of some 11. And I believe that that is a vote of confidence in the Nevis Island administration to loan the people of Nevis and to loan the Nevis Island administration $11 million to have this project executed.
And my Stray Dog family, Brantley actually borrowed $18 million from the Bank of Nevis and is spending, according to Brand, from the Ministry of Communications, I think that's his portfolio, they are spending $11 million on the road project, which tells me that Brantley has $7 million remaining, which no doubt will help to finance his campaign. And one may ask, how it is NIA accounts in such disarray? With Nevis on the cliff, he gets $80 million to borrow from the Bank of Nevis. But the CCM has, or the NIA has nominated, or has, I believe, some 6 members on the board of directors of the Bank of Nevis. But that's for another time. And divisions as well would have to make a decision. Divisions have the opportunity, since there's so much emphasis on women in leadership, they have the opportunity to elect its first woman premier. So we'll see what happens in Nevis. But many are saying this about Mark Brantley.
Vote for the Nevis Reformation Party. Otherwise, if we do not, it will be the end of Nevis, because Mark Brantley is a bad leader and a bad manager. He do not deserve another election, another victory in Nevis. He do not deserve it. Every project that CCM have started in Nevis, every one of them is unfinished at this present moment. And I'm telling you, every one of them going over budget, every one of them, they've been going on for the last 5-6 years. And not one of them has been completed. I don't even want to talk about our hospital. I don't even want to mention our hospital.
But divisions have an opportunity to make a difference in their future. And as we come to St. Kitts, the cruise ship parade continues in the port of Basseterre. And this has been the main discussion in and around the Federation. But watching these ships alongside our berths is always a joy for all of us to see. But many people are talking about the hypocrisy of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, especially when they looked at Prime Minister Drew strutting across the second cruise pier to board the biggest cruise ship in the world. And then many certainly reflected on the hypocrisy of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Because they have been claiming quite a lot of things that they do not know about. But my Stray Dog family, that's Labour.
For the that means 13 calls from ships that would have never berthed here. In fact, we're having the biggest ship in the world calling here on the 24th of November. That's from Royal Caribbean. And so we continue to make strides in the tourism industry. Our stakeholders and our partners are certainly happy.
I listened to you this week talking on this same very radio station, talking about Marsha doing a good job. She bring this amount of tourists and she bring the biggest ship. When all of us are taxi drivers and the citizens of this country know that Marsha ain't start doing nothing yet. These ships that you see come here, maybe 2-3 years ago they already booked.
And that is so true. But the second cruise pier was ridiculed by the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. But when you look at their posts on social media, those who were unaware would believe that the second cruise pier was built by Labour. But many will not forget this, my straight dog family.
Mr. Speaker, the pier is a spoiled pier. The pier can't be used. The pier can't be used. Mr. Speaker, the pier is a spoiled pier. The pier can't be used. The pier can't be used.
Mr. Speaker, we want to know what is happening with this second cruise pier. We want to know what is it that has gone wrong. Could not be what it is that we envisaged it to be when you can't use it. And one questions why a monumental project like this must end up the way it is. That is the question. What is it, Mr. Speaker, that has gone wrong here? Why we are having this situation? A whole pier built, and you still can't use the pier. The pier spoiled, they say.
How many of us remember that? The pier spoiled, according to Labour. But they want to claim it now, after 20 years of their own failure to build a second cruise pier. But cruise captains have all stamped their approval on this pier, which is a perennial fruit, as my friend would say. The pier is ripe.
It is very nice. The new pier is very wide, and it is much better actually than the previous one. And it's a very nice construction. And for us, from the marine side of view, you have enough fenders, enough bollards, nice and safe, with much better angle against the wind also. So congratulations, this is amazing.
Congratulations from all the captains. But one of the expected outcomes when we embarked upon the construction of this multi-million-dollar project was the positive impact that it would have on the grassroots economy, on the taxi drivers, on the hair braiders, on the restaurants, on the private vendors, and the list goes on. But this does not seem to be the case, as there is an endless war at Port Zante between the St. Kitts Tourism Authority and the Taxi Association, my straight dog family. This endless war doesn't seem as if it's going to end.
I am very much disappointed. All the blames that we have in the taxi business supposed to be put wholly and solely on the feet of our Yahushua, your president. We ain't got an association, you know. We does not have any association. And that is why Miss Marshall and them will try to handle me in the way that they're handling me. The association is strong as any union because the association is a union. But you know what you all do? You all sit back and allow tourism to take over. Tourism is the one who demanding what they want to do, they do what they like. Nobody respect the taxi man them anymore. In the 70s when I get in the taxi business, you know what they used to call taxi men? Ambassadors. You go around the island with travel agents for nothing. Not even gas money. But all of a sudden, you sit back, allow the Neil Walvin to do what they like. Tropical tours to do what they like. All kind of agency doing as they like. Everybody, some people got all of 10, 20 vehicles. Cutting out. You who so call say you're a taxi driver. And me as the senior, nobody has no respect for me. I can't even go down Port Zante to get a job. I can't even go airport to get a job because they say me not qualify.
51 years in the business. 51 years.
Truth be told, Walford Atherton is a very assertive, outspoken hero and never out of words. But I believe that the St. Kitts Tourism Authority ought to find a way to utilize his experience and skills to train some of these new taxi drivers to be good ambassadors of St. Kitts and Nevis, as Walford Atherton must be tourism's reigning patriarch. Continuing on our observations, Prime Minister Drew is still tight-lipped about monies being apparently paid from the St. Kitts Treasury to MSR Media Limited. We know monies are paid by the Premier from the Nevis Treasury, but we are continuing to follow that story. Prime Minister Drew also continues to sign citizenship by investment applications, and he's signing quite a lot of them.
But in spite of all of the noise with regard that the citizenship applications are proceeding as if nothing happened, and we the people need an explanation for that. In spite of all of the noise with regard to the prison project, I am told that the citizenship applications are proceeding as if nothing happened, and we the people need an explanation for that.
Yes, the people need an explanation. We don't always agree, do I ask the fan, but we need an explanation. You're correct. But Prime Minister Drew is acting like Douglas, his predecessor in the leadership of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And this question, which was asked of Douglas some 8 or 9 years ago, is still valid today. I wonder if Brantley would ask the question of Prime Minister Drew.
Our Prime Minister, for his part, has our people as to the numbers of passports issued or the countries from whence applicants are being drawn. The Economic Citizenship Program has suddenly emerged as the biggest business in St. Kitts, with well-known friends and associates of the ruling regime enjoying the lion's share of that business. Millions of dollars are being generated for a select few. But I ask you, at what cost to our national pride and our national dignity? The Prime Minister, for his part, has steadfastly refused to provide any information to our people as to the numbers of passports issued or the countries from whence applicants are being drawn. The Economic Citizenship Program has suddenly emerged as the biggest business in St. Kitts, with well-known friends and associates of the ruling regime enjoying the lion's share of that business. Millions of dollars are being generated for a select few. But I ask you, at what cost to our national pride and our national dignity?
Pertinent question still today. And Prime Minister Drew has stubbornly refused to tell the people about the number of passports issued and the countries from which applications are being drawn. We know Russia is the main country, China, Africa. But Straight Talk will not stop asking the questions until answers come forth. We know that Prime Minister Drew has signed, I'm understanding now, over 2,000 applications since taking office just over 100 days ago. And we also know that there are some 30,000 citizens or more outside of St. Kitts. We will continue to follow that story. But there is more to come, my Straight Talk family. But those are my observations in review for tonight. And I crave your indulgence to move into my short dissertation that I have entitled Me Can Drink Coffee and Cock Me Foot. And my point of departure comes from a soundbite which went viral some weeks or perhaps 2 months ago, to be exact.
Me drink me coffee and cock me. Me drink me coffee and cock me foot. Me drink me coffee and cock me foot. Me drink me coffee and cock me foot. Me drink me coffee and
my Straight Talk family, for me to sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot and say nothing while my country is being mismanaged would be a dereliction of my obligations and responsibilities to defend my country and contribute to its development and welfare, also to uphold the Constitution and obey the laws. Douglas can drink his coffee and cock his foot. And I understand that, because Drew has decided not to walk in the shadow of Douglas, the former Prime Minister. So he's keeping Brantley under his arms like a sweet-smelling political deodorant. How can I sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot, and say nothing while some people are talking about hush puppy and a $50,000 passport? How can I sit back when they're talking about this, my Straight Talk family?
One of the very serious issues that in the recent case in the United States against Hush Puppy, and that report stated that Hush Puppy had paid $50,000 to get St. Kitts Nevis citizenship. The very serious issues that both governments will have to consider relates to the report in the recent case in the United States against Hush Puppy, and that report stated that Hush Puppy had paid $50,000 to get St. Kitts Nevis citizenship.
And yes, as I said, I don't normally agree with this man called Dwyer Stefan, but I agree tonight that the Hush Puppy issue is a serious issue. And yes, it must be investigated. But what about the Mogadam issue that caused us to lose our visa-free waiver status to enter Canada? Isn't that more serious than the Hush Puppy issue? Ask yourselves the question about that Mogadam issue, my Straight Dog family. Mogadam paid $1 million for a St. Kitts Nevis diplomatic passport. Not just a passport, $1 million for, underline, a St. Kitts Nevis diplomatic passport. Who did Mogadam pay? So how can I sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot, and say nothing when political and legal justice is not done or seen to be done? So how can I sit back, my Straight Dog family?
Justice, both political and legal, and anybody found guilty must do jail time. Justice, both political and legal, has to be done and to be seen to be done. And anybody found guilty must do jail time.
And my Straight Dog family, talking about jail or jail time, right now, Robert Allen Stanford, the convicted American financial fraudster and professional cricket sponsor, is serving 10 times the amount of jail time that Hush Puppy got a few weeks ago. Hush Puppy got 11 years. Stanford is serving an 110-year sentence in a U.S. federal jail for running a massive Ponzi scheme. Stanford got land in and around the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Airport. Yes, Stanford got land around the airport for 25 cents. But I ask the question, who brought Stanford to St. Kitts? Yes, who brought Stanford to St. Kitts?
Who brought Stanford? Who brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy government land at the airport? Of course it was Dwyer Astafan. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who went to Antigua to negotiate in Antigua with Stanford about the price of the land at the airport. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who called me from Antigua and wanted me to agree on the telephone as to what the price of the land must be that Stanford was offering to pay. And it was I, as the Prime Minister, who told Dwyer Astafan, you got to be crazy, act to St. Kitts and bring that matter before the cabinet and let the cabinet sit down and let Stanford come to St. Kitts, sit in the cabinet room and negotiate with the government the conditions under which he must buy government land. That is why today when some people are making all kind of noises, I laugh. I laugh because they are hypocrites, political hypocrites and political prostitutes as well. Sorry to say that, but that is what it is. Who was it that brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy land at the airport? It was Dwyer Astafan himself and his law firm who benefited from the sale of that land.
And that's a pertinent question to ask. And we must also ask, are all these improprieties, all this corruption, are they beyond the statute of limitations? I do not believe that they are. So when the Attorney General Garth Wilkin appoints the special prosecutor, he must subpoena Dwyer Astafan to release the content of his law firm's incentive agreement with Robert Allen Stanford, the convicted fraudster, so the country can understand what was his interest in that deal. He must also subpoena witnesses in the hush puppy matter and let the chips fall wherever they may. Let the country get answers for that $50,000 St. Kitts Nevis passport. And how come it was delivered to hush puppy at the consulate, that's the St. Kitts Nevis consulate in Dubai? Hush puppy, as I said, was recently sentenced to 11 years in a U.S. jail. But we also need answers about the $1 million paid for a diplomatic passport that was approved under the CBI program. $1 million US. Who signed the application for his citizenship? And who delivered the St. Kitts Nevis passport to this Iranian Alizé Moghadam? The former Attorney General Patrice Nisbet explained or tried to explain the Moghadam deal when he said this to the country.
During its meeting on Monday, the 7th of January 2013, ministers, having duly considered the content of a memorandum dated January 4th, 2013, approved the appointment of Mr. Alizé Moghadam, a national of Iran, who had formerly acquired, following successfully completion of all the necessary due diligence, citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis through the investment program. Mr. Mo Gadam was issued with a diplomatic passport. He, on his travels to Canada, presented such passport to the authorities there. The authorities sought to confirm his role, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed to Canada the details of Mr. Mo Gadam's appointment and the specifics of his remit.
Yes, these cannot be beyond the statute of limitations, and we need to get answers. So Attorney General Wilkin must stop his political cherry picking and start to execute justice and fairness in accordance with the rule of law in this country. The Allen Stanford Agreement still affects the people in Connery. And by the way, I haven't heard Champion fighting hunks for a long time. Hope that he's well. But the people of Connery are still suffering because of Dwyer Astafan and his cabinet colleague Cedric Martin, some call him Liburd, who went to Antigua. They both went to Antigua on several occasions, met and negotiated with Stanford, with Stanford at the sticky wicket. Cedric told the country that it was a bar side agreement. We all remember that.
But when we went to Antigua to meet with Alan Stanford, it was a matter where they were discussing the agreement and the lands. I was making sure that the portion which referred to in what you call a bar side agreement.
And we are not going to forget that, because they are still within the statute of limitations. So the special prosecutor must subpoena Dwyer Astafan and Cedric Martin, Neil Liburd, to force them to release the content of this bar side agreement with Alan Stanford, the convicted fraudster, so the country can understand their interests. How can I sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot and say nothing, while the Prime Minister is signing CBI applications left, right and center, 2,000 of them in 100 days, and keeping it a secret? The Prime Minister, Jew, is holding everything to his chest like national secrets. He pays MSR Media Limited, and nobody knows how much. He gives Brantley money, and nobody knows how much. He appoints an ombudsman, and nobody knows who he or she is. He signs an MOU, and nobody knows what he signed. These are the state secrets he hides. He makes a gratuitous payment to those workers in the private sector who refuse to be vaccinated, like the Crook and others. But we don't know how much money was paid and who all got paid. We don't know the truth, and we need to know the truth. The public has a constitutional right to know or to have information. The entitlement and the necessity to get informed are essential to guarantee democracy. It is said that information is the oxygen of democracy. If people do not know what is happening in their communities, if the actions of the government are hidden from them, then they cannot take a meaningful part in the affairs of that community. But information is not just a necessity for people. It is an essential part of good government. It is an essential part of good governance. A bad government needs secrecy to survive. It allows inefficiency, wastefulness, and corruption to thrive. Information allows people to scrutinize the actions of a government and is a basis for proper and informed debate on those actions. Why does the Jew Labor Administration prefer to conduct the people's business in secret? Why are they conducting business away from the eyes of the public? Dr. Joe is treating official information on the business of the country as his personal property, rather than business he is transacting on behalf of the people. What is most troubling to many, however, is, in addition to all these national secrets, Prime Minister Joe and his cherry-picking Attorney General seem to relish the persecution of their perceived enemies of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Also troubling is the fact that we have a political leader who lies like when a horse is trotting, as my grandmother used to say. But if these anomalies continue to exist and the Jew Labour administration lacks the transparency it promised, then me can't drink coffee and cock me foot. It is going to be a new day and the straight talk way. So Dr. Joe, the people would not accept another lie from you. After 100 days and more in office, the country is on the edge. As the cost of living keeps rising, more people than ever are feeling the effects. It is an everyday struggle for families to put food on their table. The price of just about everything has been steadily increasing month after month. Following the COVID-19 disruption of supply chains came the Russian invasion of Ukraine that continues to impact the food supply of the entire world. The cost of fuel continues to escalate as Putin continues to drop bombs on Ukraine. Our polarized political climate creates instability in the workforce, which is not conducive to productivity and the good economic health of the Federation. Public and private sector workers are grumbling and are taking and or contemplating industrial action. In the private sector, some workers have acted, and they've acted recently.
Enough is enough! 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 Yeah. We can come, you're getting $300. $300 out of $900. And then you're back up for next week, and then the next week again you're back up. And so you will never get paid off.
Skelec workers were the first to act. Do you remember? Skelec workers led the way in action.
If you're current there, you're going to be something different.
Yeah, no, but that's not the way to talk, young man. I'm telling you, let's
actions speak louder than words.
No, but that's not the way to talk.
I need to talk.
That is not the way to talk.
Don't want to behave and tell me nothing about to behave.
Yeah, but that's
you
not.
check? You respect my both ways. You came here, the first thing you said when you came here, you know the work what we're doing.
Yes.
So you actually acknowledge what we're doing.
Yes, absolutely.
So we need change.
Absolutely.
This is not political.
I understand.
Listen, you have two daughters. You understand?
Yes, me too.
Every day I work with life current.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
I's a good father. I don't have no father, I don't have no mother.
Yes.
My mother passed under COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I is the one was working and kept home COVID and my mother catch COVID. You understand?
Yes.
And I went to my graves. Everybody might feel like I'm ignorant or I support PLP. I didn't even want it to talk.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? But trust me, I had to come out and say certain things. And I ain't like the way how we going.
All right.
Taxi drivers are also angry. My Street Dog family.
A lot of people have gotten something, and we was on the front line. No maybe about it. We was on the front line, and so we are asking.
Yes, the taxi drivers are angry. Some on the peace program marched down to Church Street to seek an audience with the Prime Minister. Street Dog is not aware if they were successful. Meanwhile, many on the PAP, the Poverty Alleviation Program PAP, have been placed in limbo.
I use this opportunity to indicate that all eligible existing recipients of the Poverty Alleviation Program PAP are mandated to reapply by completing the application form by December 16, 2022. Failure to do so would mean that your payment will cease effective December 31st, 2022. I wish to notify the general public that the mending of the PAP will commence from January 2023.
All of those poor people on the Poverty Alleviation Program must reapply within the next 3 weeks, or else their payments will end with effect from the 31st December 2022. What a Christmas gift for poor people in this country. That is sad. Voters were fooled and or bribed by the promise of the payment of a dividend to be paid by the 15th December 2022.
I want to make clear tonight that come December, and Nevis and other residents paying social security in this country shall receive a check courtesy of the CBI program that will in total represent a percentage of net revenues from the program for the preceding 6 months. I want to make clear tonight that come December 15, 2022, every Kittitian and Nevision and other residents paying social security in this country shall receive a check courtesy of the CBI program that will in total represent a percentage of net revenues from the program for the preceding 6 months.
When questioned by Jackie Quinn of the Observer Radio in Antigua, Prime Minister Jew responded in an incomprehensible way. And this is how Prime Minister Jew babbled on about the dividend he promised.
Mr. Prime Minister, I saw an election on social media going around which indicated that Kittitians and Nevisians will be getting a double salary this month and next month, and also that dividends will be paid from the CBI program. Is this true?
With respect to the dividend, we had said that based on our budgetary requirement or need, if we would have any type of extra from the proceeds of the CBI program, we would seek to give to our workers who are security payers whatever we can divide it into and deliver to them as a dividend, as a direct type of contribution from the CBI program. But we had always looked at the CBI program and said that the people had not ever received anything directly from the program. And so presently, while we have confirmed the double salary, we are now examining the CBI program to see what extra might be there to be divided among the people as a tangible benefit, direct benefit from the CBI program. So yes, we are looking at that as well.
Wow.
So that the task force is already delving into it, and we will determine how we will do that at the correct time.
A famous Calypsonian would say, that is lie. But what Prime Minister Jew said was that people paying Social Security shall receive a check representing a percentage of net revenues from the CBI for the preceding 6 months. I interpret that to mean from August to December. In other words, my people, the gross revenue is the total amount of money the country of St. Kitts Nevis has earned from the CBI program, the sale of citizenship. And net revenue is the amount of money that remains in the treasury after deducting the expensive. So if we have to do the math, and math is my strongest weak point, you know, but I still believe it will be simple to calculate what will look something like this. Gross revenue collected by the CIU minus the expensive of the CIU, that's the Citizenship by Investment Unit, CIU, which would equal to net revenue. My straight talk family, that's simple. But in conclusion, I will tell you, I received a message today from an honest, apolitical, Christian-minded, objective, retired professional. And I decided to share the content of this message with you tonight, which reads like this, and I quote, "Good morning, Patches. I have been looking at the restlessness in the workforce in St. Kitts, and the government needs to understand that when making decisions to both collect and spend revenue, it has to be mindful about the environment it creates and how it will affect the private sector. The extravagance within one sector will create an expectation in another sector, and if unfulfilled, will create dissatisfaction, also acrimony, and this is what we are seeing in St. Kitts and Nevis. What to expect?" The message concluded. "When we have a bunch of inept children playing man and leading the country into chaos and confusion. That is why I say, with all that is going on in this, the land of my birth right now, me can't drink coffee and cock me foot." That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. It's time for me to open the lines and hear from you. Entertain your calls and your emails. The numbers are 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. I always implore you, when I open the lines, and I'll do so in a few seconds, respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us, my straight dog family, the things we say and or do, ensure that it brings relief to the people you are addressing. And in doing and saying those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines, my straight dog family, and say good night. It's 2 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour.
Good night, Honorable Patches.
Good night, my dear.
Good night, yeah. I'm looking at the cup when they say they give people, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say you got to get email and all kind of thing. Then I do it on the paper of you follow out the farm. They do it on your phone. If you call text, you get your goal. But you can't text, they are better than you. It's how you're doing it. And I wanted to know that they said the people who handle the dead them at the hospital where these sickness was around, some of them ain't get away yet, and they want to who get the one. They who walk by the funeral home and the dead house in the hospital. They're asking for the uranium, and they can't carry it good. But anyway,
honorarium.
That is how we're going on. You got and all them people who are on the board getting the salary, and then plus they're still getting from Stelec, and they're getting from the IRS board, National Bank board, and then poor people know that's a problem to getting this $500 to help for the mortgage. But they're getting $2,000 on the board plus the month salary. And this is not what we vote for. That one hand full and next hand empty. Now, and then the big man them, they're supposed to sit down and look after our poor people, because our bag our mouth. But they are other people them, they text and the email and they get a big work then. Me now look on a big work coming on a level. But if you don't look after we are the bang off all for labor COVID. And you have a blessed night and thank you for take my call.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question before you
Yeah.
go. Are you on the PAP?
Well, I went over there. They began it today. So I went over there by the school, by the community center, and they're saying that you got to get email. But they do it on the phone. They not it on the paper. Me not gonna email, so me not get any.
That's sad.
But me not to do not email.
So
wait.
Okay, we'll talk some more about that. Thanks for your input.
Yeah, okay, all right, take care.
You take
and
it.
thanks Mr. Lindsey Grant who do the tourism.
Yeah.
And thanks Honorable Timothy and the rest of them.
Okay, my dear, thanks a lot.
Who bring this to your goal. Take care. See you. All the best.
Take care of yourself, and that's a mouthful coming from my dear friend from down west. You need an email to complete your PAP. That doesn't sound right, but I don't know why you would fabricate that. It's 2 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. Let's go straight back to the lines. Caller, you alive? Hello, caller.
Total greetings and honor to your brother Patrice.
How are you, sir?
My name is Rasaya. Bondiso, so is them slave joke youngsters.
Rasaya, I didn't even catch your voice. Good night, my brother. How art thou?
Yes, giving thanks to the Almighty Creator who have able to give me the strength and the courage to go forth with life. And all who have life, give thanks for the Creator. Now, blessed love and honor to you, and good night to your listeners via radio and internet for your program that you have set tonight as a farmer way of informing the people of the context of information shared. I want to make some statement there pertaining to the indication of the CBI program and how we see now the new Prime Minister. I would like to say Prime Minister, but I say Prime Minister. The new Prime Minister now have outlined to say he's not giving a full indication of what the CBI program is detailing, and that is one of the mantras they say, that they will able to safeguard information shared. Well, if we saw this indication of this new administration is outlined, even the one before, under Timothy and under Denzel and under Simon, with the CBI program, I find all the leaders are total liars and deceptors. They are not putting their emphasis in the context that to help us in the full form of sharing the information properly. And that is why we've seen these leaders are getting a lot of stupidness what they're doing to the people of St. and me. That's why I say I'm glad they don't vote. They are always making a statement saying they are starting to see that good people that party can get away with a lot of stupidness. But let me say something here. We're not looking to be in a good person and all we're looking to we have equal rights and justice in our people affairs. That's all we are looking for. We were good, we have done stable this shit how we supposed to. But we not see ourselves as how we are supposed to be. That's what we're seeing them doing after the crap. This time now the people start going down into the register office and say we demand this information. And if they ask us what kind of information, we give them X, Y, Z, what the demands are about. And they are there. In the register. You can go down there and ask for them. Or they can ask us what the name of the land what was sold to X, Y, Z, and you just give them the details. Because they can't deny us. If they deny it, we go to the courthouse and we will be able to get that release in an instant. But it's true because we don't like to do research. That's the problem on with our people. We must do due diligence of research. That's why I put a challenge right now on the premises of the bucket of where the land that was sold in 2014, if I have the information. You see? And when me and Denzel Douglas get to sit down, I can tell him, you do something that was unconstitutional to your own ancestors. And if you're willing to make a change, you have to tell David Coraggio to bring back those land while you sold to him in 2014. So it's time now we start making our leaders them realize that we not play with them. We not care we will vote for them and we not vote for them. Let us in standing for equal rights and justice, not for party. A party is going on this year. The Labour Party don't go because they're not ready for equal rights and justice. All ready to see money and they don't know how money go. In the PLP, in the PAM, in the CCM and the NRP, all of them are just want for money. But the people, them justice, in our safeguard. And they watch our step. You have a joyful night, brother Patches. And be safe. As the two will reveal. Blessed love and honor. Safety to you all.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. Give thanks as well. You have a safe night. Likewise, we go straight back to the lines. Caller, you are live.
Patches.
Yes, sir. You're live.
This is the Major.
How is the Major?
Well, not too good. Not too good. I'm just relaxing. I want to share something with you. You listening?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm at attention.
You ever heard about the word body ergonomics?
Can't recall, man. I'll give you a rig on that one. I gotta give you.
What it is? What body ergonomics is, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Body ergonomics is a study of the relationship between workers and the environment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it also considered body ergonomics is considered as human engineering. Mm-hmm. Having human engineering, you know that well, people, some are short, some are tall, some are fat, some are skinny. People have different temperaments. And you know, to have them different temperaments, it is a sort of a personal disposition and character. So let me don't bust my brains too much. You know what I'm saying? Some people I say to are tall, some are short. And that is about human engineering, that people have different temperament. Take for instance, you have a vehicle. And the timing, all vehicles will not have the same timing. Some fire at 1, 3, 4, 2. Some fire at 1, 2, and 3, 4. You see, it just depends on the foreign order. So people got different temperaments. So let me don't bust your brain so much. Yeah? Always remember that body ergonomics is considered as human engineering.
As you're on vehicles, I don't know you're.
Thank you very much.
Are you there? Are you there, Major? Hello? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I'm still here.
Yes, you just mentioned.
Yes, I'm here still.
Vehicles, right? And I know you're a mechanic, you know, and I'm putting the new government into the context of a new vehicle, right? And a vehicle should be serviced every 3 months. You recommend, right? So 3 months have gone. You think this new government needs servicing?
Well, as I say, in mechanics is a funny thing, you know, because you know to a fact. Maybe you count a simple problem, and you don't have to put it on. You don't have to put it on the oscilloscope. So maybe that the timing might be wrong. And if the timing is wrong, and then once the timing is wrong, you will get misfiring.
Okay.
You get misfiring.
Okay, you got yeah.
So you have to make sure that you got the piston. You have to make sure that you have the piston up top dead center. You have to make sure your piston and the valves is on the rock.
Okay. Thanks, Major. Fallout. I think you have that radio distracting you and distracting us. But we understand about the pistons, so we're saying that the new government needs pistons. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding you alive. Hello, caller.
Caught up in the name of our great African ancestors, especially Queen Nzinga and King Gabi. A blessed evening, my beloved African brother. Over you know the family.
Peaceful. Otep, my brother. We are peaceful. You and yours?
Good man. I'm great, brother. And the clan is good, man. The clan is great also. Now, my beloved brother, you see, like I said, when majority of African peoples and this is globally, brother. I'm 63 years old, gonna be 64 next month, beloved. And it seems as though when you have good people, fair-minded people, loving and caring Africans who take care of their people, the majority of all people spit in their faces and they don't get no support. They ridicule them, call them all kind of names. But when you have these neo-colonialists, brother, who hate their own people, don't love their people, beloved, look like our people gravitate to them, beloved. I have seen this, beloved. And, brother, for 7 years, we had a good administration in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm not saying they didn't have the fault, but it was good, loving people inside there, beloved, and they mash it up. Dr. Harris was a good man. He's a good man who love and care for financially poor African people, and he has demonstrated that, beloved brother. And look what happened. But we ain't gonna talk about that because the damage I've already done. But I'm just saying, you know, we always want to, not me, people always want to mash up something that's good for us. Why? Why, brother Patches? Why? But I'm gonna tell you why, brother. You see, enslavement of our people for centuries has made them think that they are less, not all now, made them think that they are less than others, beloved brother. And that's a fact. It's like in a lot of African people's DNA. Not mine, that will ever be, beloved brother. And I know not yours, beloved. So, brother, look at what happened. Anytime, our administration is continuous. What is wrong? If any administration do something good or great for their people and the next administration take over, and you cannot give that administration before you credit, or the individual in the case with the port, not with the port, with the, come on, help me, Brother Patches, with the peer, Brother Patches.
Okay.
That was a team unity project led by you, the best infrastructure minister. And I don't think anytime soon no one gonna come close to you, Brother Patches. Why you can't give it team unity administration and Brother Patches the credit? Come on. But you see, I don't expect anything better from that evil empire that was misled by the boy from St. Paul from 1995 to 2015, and now with the boy from Uppercut, the Monkey Hill Uppercut up there. It's the same philosophy. And anything changed. The only thing changed, brother. It's just they got a younger neo-colonialist at the helm. That's all. That's all, Brother Patches. And let me say in closing, Brother Mark Brantley, brother, your brother who we admire to being the best foreign minister Federation have seen so far, brother. But, brother, you're doing some things and your association with the evil empire make me have to think twice, brother. And I know election gonna be what, December 12th, brother? And I'm calling for change up there. I am calling for change. Let's give a sister a chance to become the premier of Owali, aka Nevis, beloved. It's time, man. It is time. Brother Patches, thanks again for me. Keep up the great work. And brother, you have everything to be glorified for, because you have done your work for decades, brother, and no one cannot dispute that. In culture, in business, in politics, brother, you have done it all. So, brother, parties don't worry about them, man. Brother, thanks again for the great works you have done and continue to do. Pan-Africanism our perish. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my brother. Thank you very much. I'm humbled by your commendation. Fair share, Dr. Jew. That is what you promise us in Nevis. How come no division has been appointed to the newly installed ZIZ board? We do too. Dr. Jew, remember ZIZ is owned and operated by the government of St. Kitts Nevis. And why you not taking Dwyer's advice? Remember, Dwyer warned you not to appoint anyone on the various boards just because they voted for you and promises a monthly salary. Instead, they should have some prior knowledge and experience fitting and commensurate with the institutional boards they will be serving. How can you take all 10 petitions on ZIZ board and not one division chosen? Is this a fair share you promise us? Come on, Manju. This is injustice to division. It's 8:17, and if you are just joining us, we are looking at the issues in St. Kitts. And we not drink coffee and cock before. We want to address the issues. We want to know the truth. And we need to know what's happening in our country. Too many state secrets. The public has a constitutional right to know. My Straight Dog family. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
That's right, Patches. Good night.
Good night, my brother. Culture. How are you?
Come, let's go, vocalist. Help me here, where you go, man. Christopher Columbus is a damn blasted lion. Monkey Hill Towers Joe is a damn blasted lion. Now, Patches, I want to tell me good friend Casildo. I have two levels I'm going to give. When you hear Casildo, I like you. Well spoken. You're talking the truth, you're not burying up your conscience like some people. Turn hypocrite because the government changed. And Dr. Harris is no more longer the legal prime minister. A load of them run from him and free to talk. Say them a labor. Labor, they were hypocrite. But God is guiding Dr. Harris. And congratulations, Dr. Harris, tomorrow on the 29th year of a politician in Parliament. I am calling on all the taxi operators in St. Kitts to get behind Valford Atherton. He is the most senior alive taxi operator. Get behind him and give him all the support he needs, because it is not right with what's going on down there. All you're supposed to get behind him and make sure that he is righted. And Miss Marshall, you come in claiming what Lindsey Grant has done. You can't go there in 100 days and get no ship to come here. Them kind of ship. Give credit to who it belongs to and stop owning it. You must be fair. And you, Mr. Joe, the amount of promise you promise people, number one, you say you're not going to victimize nobody. And every day you turn away somebody. All because they're not supporting you and your party. And that is wrong and bad. And that's a big lie you tell to the nation. I hear you every day. Now look, the disrespect you give to ZZ workers. Not one of ZZ workers name on the board. Come on. And you got one of them there who not gonna kind of respect to Dr. Harris when he was Prime Minister, calling him all kind of big stone name and all kind of disgraceful, degraded name. You got his name from board? That tell you plain out. The way you're working, you only look at those people who you say, who you know, supported your Labour Party. But according to Gordon Abu, you fall in the cabal. Are you doing foolishness to the country? That is not what people expected from you. Because that is what you preach.
You must practice what you preach.
Okay.
You say you're going to be a government of transparency and fairness for all.
Okay.
But that is opposite.
Thank you.
And the man in Nevis now, let me go to here and then I'm going to move on.
Yes, please.
He said that all his life he was always against the Labour Party. But look where he be now. Look where he be right up behind Joe. Back pocket that the Dr. Joe pass a gas, he get it in the face. When Dr. Joe them have a debate in Parliament, which is not right to the public, will he oppose Dr. Joe? Not he. Because he run from over the opposition bench and go and hug up Dr. Joe. So he's part of the government. So what we expect in this country here? No wonder a lot of people they want to vote. Okay. Because they realize what's going on with them lawyers. Anyway, I got one more little piece to go and I'm going to come back. So let me move.
Thank you very much. Let's go straight back to the lines. Let's keep our eyes on the clock, my colleagues. Call you live. Mr. Caller. Okay, seems to Mrs. Caller. Good evening, Mr. Liburd. Blessings and peace be unto you. I hope that you had a productive weekend. I'm looking forward to another informative program tonight. I thought elections were over. Dr. Drew seems to be still on the campaign trail. Check out his shirt. Reads that email and continue to remain peaceful. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Liburd.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, sir. And how are you?
I am peaceful.
All right. Now, I'm going to tell you, right, that good things come from good people. And I am telling you, what come out of man's mouth before everybody? Our boy come out. And I can tell you something, Mr. Liburd. No born again child of God who hurt his brother. The Bible says he must be born again. The word of God says, therefore, any man in Christ, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17, something like that. Therefore, any man in Christ is a new creature. All things are passed away. Behold, everything is new. And when you are a born again believer, you look after your fellow man. And I'm thanking God for you, because listen here. You, since I know you, my spirit takes you greatly. And God is going to bless you mightily, Mr. Liburd. Because the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. No me say so. This is God. And I can tell you something, see? You been put there for a purpose. And you cannot give it up. Because when you see the poor Christ, they are rest on your shoulder, Mr. Liburd. How you could give it up? God is going to give you patience. God is going to strengthen you, Mr. Liburd, to be the task that you are doing. Keep on doing what you have to do, Mr. Liburd. and God is going to reward you. Remember Psalm 41. Blessed is the man that considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. So you don't worry your head. Everything gonna come too.
Thank you, my dear brother.
You take care of yourself.
Have yourself a good night as well. The Bible man, as we go straight back to the lines, a caller. Are you there, caller? Yes, caller, you're live.
Are you there, caller?
Okay, seem to have missed that caller. It's now 26 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. You may have just joined me. Our lines are open, and for those of us on the overseas line, I see an overseas number trying to get my local number, but there is an overseas line which is 646-829-6672. Again, 646-829-6672. Caller, could you turn your radio down or your equipment down? Hello, caller?
Hello?
Yeah, just turn your equipment down. Are you there?
Okay. Hello?
Yes, you're live.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yes, my lord.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, you know what the people are saying? That is wrong, what they're saying, right? Timothy do a lot of things for the country, right? Timothy got the country so with all the load of money we have spent now. And when they're saying, people wrong with their saying. They're wrong. Okay?
I believe you. I believe you.
Huh?
I believe you. I know.
Yeah,
so.
right is right. Right is right. They can't be going on and saying and going there because it means that the country red and when I spend our the budget was budget out for.
True.
You know that?
That is so correct.
Yeah.
They use it.
When I spend our budget out for. So when they say it is wrong, yeah, let tell you, me I do your fam. Me is courage, and me tell you plain out. When they're going on with is wrong, right? Country, I run up. Look at cruise ship was supposed to come here. The war ship, what them don't set up that there. You hear me? So don't study them about that thing now for that. It's grant them set up that. They tell you.
Yes.
So don't take them on with that. You hear me? He ain't that matter. That matter may start not yet. When they started next year, when the budget come out next year now, that's it and one thing. But right now, what I do is grant. The double salary with the actor is grant. And all of them. You hear me? In unity. So not the MRE and stupid there. Okay. People don't know what's going on. You got a lot of people don't know what's going on. Right? So that's the man. Yeah. So, I'll go to tomorrow.
Okay, my brother. Thanks a lot for your intervention. And that's what Straight Talk is all about. Just talk the truth. Sometimes you have to be prepared to stand alone, but only the truth can set you free. I'm sorry, caller, I kept you holding for some time, but you can call back. With the historic advent of a certain individual on the new ZIZ Board of Directors, serve to tell us that ZIZ Radio will soon become like another radio station that daily encourages, supports, and tolerates certain persons calling in and yelling abusive and insultive language on the decent and respectable citizens with impunity. The future of ZIZ seemingly will be in a state of despair, reads that email. This other email reads, the peer can be used as we all can see, but you very well know that the peer was intended to dock 2 Oasis-class ships simultaneously. Has that feat been accomplished yet? No. Of course you're right, but they've never had two Oasis ships in the port at any time since the port has been built. We've never seen 2 Oasis-class ships, but surely if you do have to, peer can accommodate them, my brother. Caller, you live, or sister, where was that email? Caller, you live.
Mr. Patches,
Yes, my dear.
I'm glad to hear Labo tonight. I'm glad to know that he's still on the ship that he jump off. You know, like some of them be hypocrite. If you're labor, be labor. And if you're LPP, be LPP. No way to say that you jump off the boat now. Mr. Politics make me look small to say that he jump off the boat where he went on. And one man keep up the boat now that culture. Culture keep up the boat. I'm a labor woman, but keep up the boat.
Okay. Thanks for your input. Short, to the point, and sweet. You said poor people on the PAP are in limbo. If they are truly eligible, they would have no problem being reinstated. Dr. Halley clearly said there were persons on the program who made $3,000 to $5,000 per month. Did you hear that section? I guess not, because it doesn't tie into your script. Yes, but Dr. Halley also said that if you don't reapply by December, what was it? December 16th, whatever the date is. I play back the soundbite for you. And that's what he played. Are you saying he did not say that? Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Okay, where is this? Yes, my Straight Talk family, it's now 8:32. And this is what Dr. Hanley said. And this is straightforward. Whether you like to hear it or not, I didn't say it. This is exactly what Hanley said. But I'll get back to that in a couple of minutes. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night.
Good night, my brother.
Yes, Patches.
How are you, Jam?
Boy, that man could do it again. And we know he will do it again. Because God in this. And anytime you see people come to look out for poor people, tell yourself, these people is blessed people. Now we want to set out a clarion call to the Honorable Prime Minister, see? Because I was disturbed last night in the circus when 3 young people come across the circus and started to talk. And they were saying that they are trying to run on all the government, from the Labour, into Simmons, into the Vagabond, into Timothy, the deputy Timothy, and now Joe trying to deny petition from young petition from getting a piece of land, but that could you let the people go and pay the $500 and $200, then strong like the rest of them with the empty ballot wire, the Malacca acres, the people opportunity to go here, this is the country, you're going wrong. Let the people go and tell them and you want a piece of the rock, they're going here. And next thing I want to talk about, Patches, is that what I have seen and what is right, because Patches, it can just I call you and say, Wally, yes, Wally's one the elder taxi man around from James Bushel and Quokka and all them old taxi men will fight for this thing. And I'm going to show you, Patches, that I'm from a lazy man. They look after these old men. They're not young. And they're not supposed to compete with this young man down there like fish market. The tourism department, if they were listening to Daniel, they should have got something set up within the department to reach out to the elders for themselves. They pay the social security now. And for whatever reason, plus the COVID into this young girl. And she better hit the ground and try to learn, you know. And come to people now, because I see her getting tangled. And she better come to the neighbor and ask some questions now and report her. I don't really want the best for that young girl. And she better understand who she around. They got some people. No, Miss Lewis is the best you got down there in the port. She learned from Keith Phillips. And Monkey Bun, she knows it. She knows Miss Phillips
country down very quick. But you got some down there feel like the night on, and they need polite and nice. Can you talk to people? Now when the walkers young talk about this law, they just got to shit weird and turn off. She reach out to them with the problem. Some of them they up there about chanting, and we don't know chanting, man. We don't know who chanting. So practice. Where we want is the tourism department to reach out to the elder taximan them. They get it out. Sometimes the people can't even get walk. And let me say the last thing before about that. Not even one word from Simmons into Douglas, into Dwyer, as tourism minister, into this jockey one Lindsay guy. Nothing. Advertising with young crab vendors down there. So you find these people purchase come from various parts of the country, have to pay vehicles, lot of money. And some of them can't even get a sale to pay back the vehicle to go back home. No kind of advertisement outside, making a billboard, and for years it is happening. That is I'm the spokesman for poor people, and you're nowhere to have a good night.
Yes, have a good night, Jam Down, and you'll always talk your mind. It's now 23 before the 10 o'clock hour. We are taking your calls, and we are also promoting the view that the public has a constitutional right to know, and the public wants to know. Caller, you live.
Yes, good evening, Packers. Mr. Politics got a holy walk. The car walk scarce. And Mr. Politics can't follow it. He like a politics that wants to go. He got a holy walk. You take care.
Okay. Thank you very much for your input, Mr. Liburd. Good evening. Last night I returned home from worship with my wife, and I almost died when I saw Jeffrey Hanley. Yes, Patches, that Jeffrey talking about abuse of PAP. Patches, Mr. Pep himself, calling people names that to you forgot to tell the man on the white horse to investigate, as well as persons under the Douglas administration who got house built duty-free and vehicles brought in duty-free. It has stored up all the stones since we are clearing the yard. God bless you, Patches, reads that email. This other email reads, this other email reads, my Stray Dog family, good night, sir. I am a first-time listener to your show, so my contribution will be both brief and simple. If the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley is responsible for the new PAP, then it is destined to be a real puppy show, and will no doubt be a molested version of the social welfare program introduced by Team Unity and Timothy Harris. Reads that email. This other email reads, my Stray Dog family, here's what, I go back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, you're live.
Yeah. Patches.
You're live, so yes.
Yeah. You know, when I talk about the what the man of Nevis, right? Everybody had to tell not the man of Nevis, that's Timothy, right? Mm-hmm. You remember that? Huh?
I'm not quite following you, but go ahead.
Yeah. When I come, they had a thing up up leg up thing up here, and I tell them what the effing man of Nevis, right? Because he is a smart man, right? And you see what now? He with labor now, right? And shine them now, not gonna work, right? And shine them out now. I said, what's the effing man of Nevis? He is in man who got to watch. That's Timothy. So you see what's going on now? Yeah? You see what's going on? Yeah?
Yes, I'm listening to you, my brother.
You listen?
Yes, I'm listening.
This is the man courage. We talk courage. We tell you What's the man over Nevis? I hear the man, the Timothy, I hear the man who got to watch. I tell them, sir, and see what's going on now. They laugh after them because he walk and you see you're up and down with them now. I tell them, sir, what's the every man over Nevis? I tell them, sir, and see what's going on now. Right? Right up somehow, I tell them, sir, for the mic, I say, what's the man? The man, there is a genius man. I don't know the man, he's a smart man. He say, could bring down any government. And see what's going on now. You see what's going on? Okay. He got the government. He got Pam out of power. And Pam, he got to fight now to get back in there again. He got to fight to get back up there. Because Sean was supposed to be the next point. And he saw it, you know. Because when he got the next election, he was supposed to say, well, I'm going to take over now and be the Prime Minister. He was supposed to tell Timothy, okay, sit down and let me be the Prime Minister. Yeah. And he fought. That's why everybody against him. Right. And you see, take over one time. He said, he might do a lot of stupid spirit, man, son. Now, I think, because look now half of it. One, no, I get nothing do because how he hold his hand back, he pull back his hand, so he can't get done do. Right? We all why do when the second election, tell the man, let Sean be the Prime Minister and take over for all them getting well fast. Yeah. Okay, you know?
Okay.
Okay, I tell them, son.
Okay.
I tell them upon the ear.
Okay.
What the man not play with. Not Timothy, they after, no. He was supposed to be, thing, Mark and the youngster. And he say now to take them government and so on. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Good night.
Good night, my brother. Thanks for your intervention. Yes, you want us to watch the man over Nevis. The numbers again are 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. Our email address is straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. That's one word, STRAIGHTTALK @gmail.com. Call you're trying to get me on this WhatsApp all the time. You're not connecting. Try the number 663-6672. Your WhatsApp is just saying connecting. I'm not getting it to you, so I refrain from calling it because I'm not getting access to you via the WhatsApp. Just call on your direct line. Can you? Are you there, caller? Okay, let's say it's 17 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. 17 before the 10 o'clock hour. If you just joined me, my Straight Talk family, we looked at my dissertation for tonight. Me can drink coffee and cock my foot when all these things are happening. We're not getting the truth. The public has a constitutional right to know. And we are also saying as well that there are certain things that are still within the limit or the statute of limitations. And whenever this AG appoints a special prosecutor, there are lots of things that should be covered. The prosecutor must subpoena Dwyer Stefan to release the content of his law firm's incentive agreement with Robert Allen Stanford, the convicted fraudster, so the country can understand what was his interest in that deal. Yes, he must also subpoena witnesses in the hush puppy matter and let the chips fall where they may. Puppy was recently sentenced to 11 years in prison, but Sanford was sentenced to 110 years. Call you live.
Mr. Liburd, you think an hour calling? Oh my God, you need another half an hour. But since it's done late, I just wait until the next time, see if I could get in much earlier. And the lady was calling in all the time to ask about people, and she is a labor. Calling and say something good we're doing now. Nothing at all. She could see doing good to say and study people. She must stop study people who ain't calling in. See you. Good night. Have a good night.
It's 15 before the 10 o'clock hour. That's what Straight Talk is all about. I would like to suggest, though, when you get your time to, and when you get into the program, you try to use your time wisely. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good night, Courage. I like your style. Good shot. Anyway, Patches, the election in Nevis is close. And in April, my good friend, my good brother, Mr. Politics, he called Dr. Bartlett and he tell her he going to come to Nevis to help her campaign. Well, Politics, what are you going to do now? The election close, you know. You're going to still let the nation know. Anyway, time short and time gone. So Thursday, I hope I get a good do to leg in my mouth. Well, more pop money going to Florida. And you know, we're going to send it up there because they send up some already. Like think it's had grass up there to cut to pet people them. I welcome all who call in on the radio and voice your opinion. You all are great people. Keep it up. Good night, Patches. Have a safe ride home.
Good night, my brother. Have a good night's rest as well. That's the culture. Again, the number caller was trying to get me. It's 66366672. Everybody's getting in, so I don't know why you can't get in. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Patches, good night again.
Yes, my brother.
Patches, I wanna endorse Brother Nabo because a lot of people don't understand your contribution in this little society here. Can't think it's needed, you know. Your contribution, especially as a minister of government, infrastructure, you have done something where you never seen in the Caribbean. And I'm listening up over the other day on Antigua. And why do you call us calling in? Because they know that your performance, we never see them kind of things from Metro Jean Simmons, the Vagabond Boy. When we had seen, he can't go out at this morning until when Pretty Flowers and both box come over there. I will always shout it out because this is the kind of performance we want in this country, and I'm warning these young people, you know, it's not going to work, you know. And like going government and become millionaires. Oh, you just gone through the shoot like how we used to be on the body and challenge, you know. Say, you know. Let me show you something, Patches. This country, I wanna send a client call to that because we had a consulate in Dubai and all kind of documents were missing from Dubai. Your passport was selling left, right, and center in all corners of Dubai. And who was in charge up to now when we turn back in Kitchener? When a consulate, when last year we get a consulate, they don't come home. But this consulate can't come home, you know. There's somewhere in Asia. And a warning that these is the things you got to put in the other part, you know. These is the things we want to know. But you have a good night and keep the ball between wicket and wicket. It's 1 foot to block it out, like before.
Okay.
All man in our town said, you keep coming with the truth.
Okay.
I would find in our town, Straight Talk always come with the truth. That's why it's found on the truth. That's why the guy go with him, he know what he's doing. Because he come with the truth. Have a good night, Patches.
Have a good night, my brother. The truth will always set you free. Caller, you're alive. Hello, caller. Okay, it seemed to have missed that caller. It's now 10 before the 10 o'clock hour. We are winding down tonight's programming. I looked at the topic, drinking coffee and cocking the foot. Caller, you live.
Mr. Patrice.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, you're live.
Lady Fine, lady who said, that labor woman. Lady Fine, you can't tell me what to say. You say what you want to say, and I say what I want to say. We call in and say what we want to say.
That is true. But no, just say something. Don't forget the lady. What do you have to say? Okay, we don't need. Okay. Everybody has a right on this program to say or to express their views. That is what Straight Talk is about. I'm sorry if some people get offended, but we're not going to shut down any shade of view whatsoever. That is how it's going to be. That's how it's always been on Straight Talk. All we ask you to do one thing, talk the truth. But you have your opinion, you express your opinion. As I was saying, nonetheless, for me to sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot, and say nothing while my country is being mismanaged will be a dereliction of my obligations and responsibilities to defend my country and contribute to its development and welfare, also to uphold the Constitution and obey the laws of the country. Douglas can drink coffee and cock his foot. And I understand that because Drew has decided not to walk in the shadow of Douglas, the former prime minister. So he's keeping Brantley under his arms like a sweet-smelling political deodorant. How can I sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot, and say nothing about the hush puppy and a $50,000 passport? It is a serious issue, and yes, it must be investigated. But what about the Mogadam issue that caused us to lose our visa-free waiver to enter Canada? Isn't that more serious than hush puppy? Mogadam paid $1 million for a St. Kitts Nevis diplomatic passport. Who did Mogadam pay? So how can I sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot, and say nothing when political and legal justice is not done or seen to be done? And talking about jail, right now Sanford is in jail, serving a 110-year sentence, 10 times the amount of years as Hush Puppy is now serving in a U.S. jail as well. But Sanford got land in and around the R.L. Bradshaw Airport for 25 cents per square foot. Who brought Sanford here is a question that ought to be answered. Caller, you're live. Yes, sir.
You know, I was supposed to, my granddaughter, my first granddaughter in Canada, right? As well as brother, right? That here, me thing. I was supposed to go up Canada for his wedding, January. But through Douglas messed up everything, right? I can't go, right? Me can't go because I got to go to our country to get a visa to go to Canada, right? So what they're saying, huh? You see?
Yeah. Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. I was supposed to go to Canada. Me to make my granddaughter, I can't come. That's my first granddaughter. I say I can't come because how things been now, I can't come. You tell me, well, Grandpa, you got to go to I said, no. We can't do that. We're not going to waste money with all them things there. So who messed it up? When I go answer, who messed it up? Huh? Who messed it up? At the community messed it up?
True.
Huh?
Good question.
So me tell you, my granddaughter going to get married January to a big thing up there. Yeah, but me can't go. right? That tell me, grandpa, me no want to marry this before you come, right? I went down St. Thomas 2 years ago, got over my father's funeral, right? So now you tell me, got to come up to Canada. I said, but you see how doggy got the army thing. So when you're talking, right? I can't do that. Tell them me courage says so. Me courage says so. My granddaughter, his first granddaughter, who has the other's brother, supposed to marry January, and me now come up there because me can't go to all the kind of red tape dance or spend money to get things. So me courage says so. Tell them that. So I doggy match it up. So all the match of the country. You hear me? Okay. See you. Yeah.
Thank you. So yes, who brought Stanford to St. Kitts? And we must also ask, are all these improprieties, all this corruption, are they beyond the statute of limitations? No. I say no. But we ask the question, my Straight Dog family.
Who brought Stanford? Who brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy government land at the airport? Of course it was Dwyer Astafan. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who went to Antigua to negotiate in Antigua with Stanford about the price of the land at the airport. It was Dwyer Astafan himself who called me from Antigua and wanted me to agree on the telephone as to what the price of the land must be that Stanford was offering to pay. And it was I, as the Prime Minister, who told Dwyer Astafan, you got to be crazy. Back to St. Kitts and bring that matter before the cabinet and let the cabinet sit down and let Stanford come to St. Kitts, sit in the cabinet room and negotiate with the government the conditions under which he must buy government land. That is why today when some people are making all kind of noises, I laugh. I laugh because they are hypocrites, political hypocrites and political prostitutes as well. Sorry to say that, but that is what it is. Who was it that brought Alan Stanford to St. Kitts to buy land at the airport? It was Dwyer Astafan himself and his law firm who benefited from the sale of that land.
Well, and that is the point I am making about the benefits that his law firm derived, according to the former Prime Minister. And I do not believe that these are beyond or outside the statute of limitations. So when the Attorney General Garth Wilkin appoints the special prosecutor, he must subpoena Dwyer Astafan to release the content of his law firm's incentive agreement with Robert Allen Stanford, the convicted fraudster, so the country can understand what was Dwyer's interests in that deal. He must also subpoena witnesses, yes, in the hush puppy matter, and let the chips fall where they may. But we also need answers about the $1 million paid for the diplomatic passport, which was approved under the CBI. Caller, you're live. I'm going to give you 30 seconds because I'm running out of time.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, James.
Quickly, I want to call on Jomo Williams to take a drive around Parliament Square, renowned Independence Square. That poor people who coming from Rams and various parts of the country, coming out from work, going to the square to catch the bus up by the bus stand. Please to fix the light in Parliament Square. Already you purchased about 5 years ago to put proper lighting in there, and you did it. And if you drive over
We don't want nobody to get hurt because everybody on the horses. Police and people in the street right now. Please, Joe, look after people. Because no boat can hear me talking, he won't hear them shaking. Joe, this is jam down. Go tell your squad to fix that light. Do not let another week pass. That is, you have a good night again.
Have a good night, my brother. And that's the way we're going to end it, the calls for tonight. I see the lights are going, but I think we got to get out of here because my time is done and I'm going to run. And there are lots of things, like I said, not outside of the statute of limitations. So we need to stop the cherry picking and start to execute justice and fairness all across the board in keeping with the rule of law in this country. My Stray Dog family, how can I sit back, drink coffee, cock my foot and say nothing while the Prime Minister, Jew, keeps signing CBI applications? And to date we understand that he has signed some 2,000 of them in 100 days. But he's keeping it a secret. The Prime Minister is holding too many national secrets, my Street Dog family. He made a gratuitous payment to those workers in the private sector who refused to be vaccinated, like the cook and others, but we don't know how much money was paid and who all got paid. We don't know the truth, and we need to know the truth. The public has a right, a constitutional right to know and to have information. The entitlement and the necessity to get informed are essential to guarantee democracy. And it is said that information is the oxygen of democracy. A bad government, only a bad government needs secrecy to survive. Why the secrecy, Prime Minister Jew? Why does the Jew Labour administration prefer to conduct the people's business in secret? Why are they conducting business away from the eyes of the public? Dr. Jew is treating official information on the business of the country as his personal property, rather than business he is transacting on behalf of the people. What is more troubling to many as well, in addition to all these national secrets, Prime Minister Jew and his cherry-picking Attorney General seem to relish the persecution of their perceived enemies of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Also troubling is the fact that we have a leader who lies like when a horse is trotting, as my grandmother used to say. But if these anomalies continue to exist, and the Jew Labour administration lacks the transparency it promises, or is promised, then we can't drink coffee, or me can't drink coffee and cock my foot. It is going to be a new day and the straight talk way. My Straight Talk family, the cost of living keeps rising more than ever. And more people are feeling the effects. It is an everyday struggle for families to put food on their table. Yet, what we heard today is there are, come December, some people won't get any more pap. Do you believe that? Poor people will have to suffer? Why would poor people have to suffer, my Straight Dog family? That cannot be right. It cannot be right. No, it cannot be right, I say. It just cannot be right that poor people will have to suffer.
Recipients of the Poverty Alleviation Program PAP are mandated to reapply by completing the application form by December 16, 2022. Failure to do so would mean that your payment will cease effective December 31st, 2022. I wish to notify the general public that the mending of the PAP will commence from January 2023.
All those poor people on PAP must reapply within the next 3 weeks, or else their payments will end, with effect from the 31st December 2022. What a wonderful Christmas gift for poor people in this country. That is sad. Poor people were fooled or bribed as well about the dividend to be paid by the 15th of December. That again, Prime Minister Joe continues to babble on. But my Straight Talk family, I received this message today, which I will leave with you. And it reads like this, and I quote, "Good morning, Patches. I've been looking at the restlessness in the workforce in St. Kitts, and the government needs to understand that when making decisions to both collect and spend revenue, it has to be mindful about the environment it creates and how it will affect the private sector. The extravagance within one sector will create an expectation in another sector, and if unfulfilled, will create dissatisfaction, also acrimony, and that is what we are seeing in St. Kitts today. What to expect?" It continues. "When we have a bunch of inept children playing man and leading the country into chaos and confusion. That is why I say, with all that is going on in this land of my birth right now, me can drink coffee and cock me foot. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank all of you who called. There are many I know could not get in for some reason. I can't tell why. But I want to thank all those who called. There are those who send emails. There are those who listen on social media, Facebook and YouTube, and those on Win FM radio. Thank you, Trent and or Jamster, whoever's in the house tonight. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Liburd, and I'm just to make sure, let me thank God again. I should thank God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always. But I am Ian Patches Liburd, and God's Spear. We will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you must believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praise.